Hi guys. Welcome to lucatechty. In this video, we will talk about the top 10 countries in space technology. More than 70 space organizations around the world. Here we will talk about the top 10 countries in space technology. So before starting this video, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for future updates. 10. Brazil, AEB. The Brazilian Orbit Agency, or Agência Espacial Brasileira, AEB, to English speakers, launched its first rocket into space in 2004. Brazil is a participant in NASA's Artemis program, which aims to return a manned spacecraft to the Moon by 2025 along with more than 20 other nations. 9. Australia, ASA. The National Space Program and Australian Space Office, Australia's prior space organizations, were shut down in 1996. However, with the establishment of the Australian Space Agency in 2018, the nation resumed its involvement in space exploration, ASA. The organization has stated that it will triple in size by 2030 and that it will collaborate with NASA to send a new moon rover to the Moon by 2026. 8. France, CNES. France has its own national space agency, the National Centre for Space Studies, commonly known as the Centre National d'Études Spatiales. In addition to housing the global headquarters of the European Space Agency in Paris, CNES. CNES is the third oldest national space agency in the world. Behind NASA and Russia's SSSR, ROSCOSMOS, and one of Europe's biggest. In order to create a reusable launch vehicle fueled by liquid oxygen and methane. CNES is actively collaborating with the DLR Space Agency of Germany. Access to space, civil space applications, sustainable development, science and technology research, and security and defense are the 5 fundamental pillars of CNES. 7. Japan, JAXA. One of the world's top space powers is Japan. The Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, JAXA, which was created in 2003 by the merger of 3 smaller agencies, the National Aerospace Laboratory of Japan, NAL, the National Space Development Agency of Japan, and the Institute of Space and Astronautical Science of Japan, oversees the country's national aerospace research and development activities, NASDA. Japan became the 4th nation to have an indigenous satellite launch capability in February 1970 when it sent its first satellite, Osumi, into orbit. It now runs a fleet of Earth observation, communication, meteorological, and astronomical satellites. 6. India, ISRO. The Department of Space, Government of India, supports the Indian Space Research Organisation as a research center for space and related disciplines. The institute has elevated India to the position of a major contributor to space-related research and development. It is one of only a select few organizations with the capacity to launch satellites and extraterrestrial missions. The Soviet Union launched India's first satellite, Aryabhata, into space in 1975. And the nation launched its first satellite into orbit on its own in 1980. Since then, India has established one of the largest fleets of navigational satellites in the entire world, launched probes to the Moon and Mars, and more. 5. Italy, ASI. Italy's space exploration efforts are overseen by the Agenzia Spaziale Italiana, ASI, also known as the Italian Space Agency. It collaborates with numerous other space agencies, including the ESA and the Italian Aerospace Research Center, CIRA. Its operations include the NASA, ESA, and ASI-led Cassini-Huygens project to investigate Saturn. Contributions to the ESA's Mars Express and Venus Express missions, and Rosetta, an ESA-led mission that in 2014 successfully landed a probe on a comet. 4. European Space Agency, ESA. The European Space Agency, ESA, is a global alliance with 22 member states as well as a few associate members and cooperation partners. Its headquarters are in Paris, France, and it has additional offices across the globe, including in the United States and Russia. The ESA operates with 4 main goals: science and exploration, unlocking the mysteries of the universe; space safety, protecting life and infrastructure on Earth and in space; applications, realistic ways to use space to benefit mankind, and enabling and support. In 2021, the ESA had an operating budget of €6.49 billion, $6.62 billion USD, making space accessible and developing future technologies. 3. China, CNSA, CMSA. 2 organizations make up China's space program, the larger China Manned Space Agency and the smaller China National Space Administration, CMSA. After the United States and Russia, China is the third nation to send people into space on its own. Dongfang Hong-I, China's first communication satellite, was successfully launched in 1970. The third largest space power in the globe at the moment is China. 2019 saw China's Change 4 probe make history by being the first to set foot on the moon's far side. China became the second nation to set foot on Mars in May 2021 when the CNSA's Tianwen-1 mission successfully landed a probe there. 2. Russia. ROSCOSMOS, SSSR. Over the past 70 years, Russia has used two different space agencies. The first program was the Kosmicheskaya Programa SSSR, which ran from 1955 until the Soviet Union's disintegration in 1991. Russian cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin completed an orbit of the Earth on April 12, 1961. Just a few weeks before astronaut Alan Shepard became the first American in space on May 5, 1961. Thanks to the SSSR, which also made Russia the first nation on Earth to send humans into space. The Russian Space Agency, or ROSCOSMOS, was created on February 25, 1992. And it is the SSSR's successor. Although it has made plans to exit the ISS program and build its own space station and lunar base over the next 10 years. ROSCOSMOS is a significant partner in the International Space Station. The Kosmichesky Voishka Rossi is a branch of the Russian military that focuses on space, similar to the US, VK. The defense of the nation from missile assaults appears to be the Russian Space Force's primary operational priority thus far. 1. United States of America, NASA, USSF. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, of the United States is without a doubt the most productive and active space agency in the world. With a budget that is almost double that of the next highest agency. America was the second nation to launch people into space. The first to put people on the moon. And one of the key contributors to the International Space Station. The Space Shuttle program, the Voyager and Mariner spacecraft. And the Curiosity and Perseverance Mars rovers or other NASA accomplishments. The Apollo program, which cost $20.4 billion in the 1960s and is expected to be worth $236 billion now, is perhaps NASA's most well-known mission. Through Apollo missions 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, and 17, astronauts walked on the moon 6 times. In addition to NASA, the U.S. military also includes the United States Space Force, which is focused on space just as the Army, Navy, and Marine Corps are focused on the land, sea, and air, respectively, Air Force. The Space Force is intended to defend the interests of the United States in space, prevent aggression in, from, and to space, and conduct space operations, according to the 2020 National Defense Authorization Act. The 3 cornerstone roles of the Space Force were created in the capstone document Space Power, Doctrine for Space Forces, which also established the Force's 5 core competencies and 7 space power disciplines. Thanks for watching everyone. Which of these did you find most interesting? Be sure to like this video, that way we can continue improving our content for you the viewer.